Robart, you're no longer part of the workforce. Emily, what? What do you mean I'm fired? I've devoted 2 decades to this company under my leadership. For years, I adhered to my principles while working for the company. Then, one day, my husband casually informed me that I was terminated after the passing of my father-in-law. Supposedly, this decision was made because Catherine would be taking charge. I protested, pointing out that even if Catherine assumed control, the company still required someone to manage accounting. Shockingly, I learned that Catherine's boyfriend was set to handle that role, rendering me obsolete. In disbelief, I questioned the rationale. While I grappled with the news, Catherine arrogantly asserted that I should know my place, especially considering my perceived arrogance as an outsider. With a mocking tone, she added that I should enjoy my newfound jobless life. Upon Catherine's return, I not only felt excluded as a family member, but also unappreciated for the 2 decades I dedicated to the company. My father-in-law, though not one to openly praise, would adopt my suggestions if he believed they benefited the company. However, with Catherine considering me an enemy, I doubted the same would happen under her leadership. I realized I no longer felt attached to the company. Resigned to the situation, I wished Robert and the others success in ensuring the company's survival before deciding to part ways. My name is Emily. I excelled at managing finances, pursued accounting in college, and secured a position as an accountant at a major company. It was during my tenure that I crossed paths with Robert, who happened to be younger than me. We first crossed paths at a bar, and Robert shared that he was assisting with his parents' recycling business. Unlike my career-focused colleagues, talking to Robert, who appeared a bit indecisive, offered a refreshing change. As we spent more time together, Robert and I started going out for drinks, and he began opening up about his family. He particularly highlighted his assertive sister, Catherine, who aimed for nothing less than being the best. Despite studying business in college, Catherine chose to work at a regular company, distancing herself from the family recycling business. She dismissed it as too plain and unimpressive to share with her friends, finding the business beneath her. Although Robert occasionally sounded exasperated when discussing Catherine's independent nature, it was evident that he cared deeply for her. As we exchanged stories about our families, our bond grew stronger. After dating for a while, Robert proposed to me. Unable to imagine being apart from him, I promptly accepted. However, he had a request for our future together. Emily, once we're married, I want you to quit your current job and help with the family business, the recycling business. My mother has been managing the accounting, but she hasn't really studied for it. You're an expert in that area, right? I want you to handle our finances. Feeling a bit fatigued from my job at a large company, the idea of contributing to a family-run business seemed appealing. I made the decision to leave my position at the major company as soon as we tied the knot. I started my role as an accountant in Robert's father's company. And upon reviewing the financial records, I discovered numerous errors made by my mother-in-law, who lacked formal training in accounting. Determined to rectify the situation, I began cleaning up the records and undertaking a comprehensive overhaul of the company's finances. As I delved deeper, I gained a thorough understanding of the recycling business, identifying opportunities to cut costs and enhance sales. Eager to discuss my cost-cutting and business plans, I approached Robert with my proposals. After quickly reviewing the materials I had prepared, he gave his approval. Robert, I have something I want to discuss with you, I began. With this business plan, our sales should increase. I'll let Dad and Mom know about it too. My proposal was adopted, and I threw myself into implementing the cost cuts and the new business plan, often sacrificing sleep for the sake of the company. Thanks to these efforts, the company's performance steadily improved, allowing us to hire new employees. As the company thrived, the local community began to take notice. Actively engaging with the community, our business transformed into a community-based store. Time flew by, and before I realized it, 2 decades had passed since I first joined the company. Throughout this period, the employees and locals grew fond of me. Despite my dedicated efforts for the company, it seemed that both Robert and my in-laws took my commitment for granted. A local lady, who lived nearby, expressed her concern, asking if I was working too hard and getting enough days off. Robert dismissed her worry, stating that I was passionate about my work and didn't have any significant hobbies, making a day off unnecessary. I've known about this company since the time of Robert's parents, but its growth is thanks to Emily, right? You should at least give her a big bonus, the local lady suggested, to which Robert replied, "She's my wife, so she doesn't need a bonus. Living off the company's money is more than enough." Despite the concerns raised by those around me, I found fulfillment in my job and the connections I built within the community. The lack of days off or bonuses didn't bother me. What did concern me, however, was Robert's increasing frequency of night outs. "Robert, you seem to be going out a lot lately at night. Where are you going?" I inquired one day. "I'm working, expanding my network." "If it's for business, can't you do it during the day? Stop nagging." "I have my way of doing things. You're just a mere accountant. You should just stay quiet," he retorted, growing more distant from home. Despite the tension, I assured him, "If there's any issue at work, please let me know." Yeah, got it," Robert responded, clearly annoyed, as he distanced himself further from home. One day, I received a phone call at home from a warehouse of one of our business partners. The caller informed me that something terrible had happened. Bob, my father-in-law, who had come to pick up goods, had suddenly collapsed and was rushed to the hospital. Due to the severity of his injury during the fall, my father-in-law passed away, leading to a somber period of mourning. Many from our business partners and the community attended the grand funeral. After a long absence, Catherine, who had moved out after securing a job, returned and was taken aback by the scale of the event. This company seemed like it could go under any time. When did it grow so big? She wondered aloud. It's all thanks to Emily. She turned the company around, increased the profit margin, and expanded the business. When profits increased, she suggested redistributing it to us, boosting our morale. "Seeing Emily work hard inspires us to do the same," explained one of the employees during the funeral. Catherine appeared upset that the employees were praising me and not paying attention to her. In her eyes, the slight improvement in the performance of a small company wasn't worthy of such admiration. Whenever Catherine saw me, she treated me like a servant. "Emily, I'm a bit thirsty. Could you get me a cold drink? Be quick. I can make tea if you'd like," I offered. "I said I want something cold." "You might not understand since you've worked in a small company. But in big companies, the boss's word is absolute." "I don't think you are my boss, though. Don't nitpick in our family hierarchy. I am above you," she condescendingly remarked. After the funeral, Catherine called Robert and my mother-in-law into a room. "Robert, Mom, I'd like to discuss our future as a family. Please come," she declared. Glancing coldly at me, who was standing next to Robert, she added, "This is a family discussion, so Emily, you're not welcome." Stunned, I watched as Catherine led Robert and her mother into another room, leaving me on the sidelines. An hour later, Robert casually informed me that he had decided to hand over the company to his sister, Catherine. Shocked and confused, I inquired about the family discussion's outcome, only to learn that it revolved around selecting the new head of the company after their father's passing. Robert, not assertive enough for the top role, and their mother, who preferred not to be at the forefront, reluctantly accepted Catherine's offer to become the CEO. However, Catherine had never been involved in the company before. Concerned, I voiced my doubts, only to be met with dismissive remarks and in order to stay out of family matters. Having fought for the family and dedicated 2 decades to the company, I was suddenly told, "You're no longer an employee." "What do you mean?" "You're fired." Even if Catherine takes over, someone will still need to handle accounting, right? To my disbelief, I was informed that Catherine's boyfriend would be handling accounting, rendering me unnecessary. Catherine returned, treating me not only as an outsider in the family, but also diminishing my 2 decades of dedication to the company as if it meant nothing. My job was taken away, and the struggles and efforts felt utterly worthless. Despite my father-in-law never openly praising me, he always acknowledged the benefit of my suggestions for the company. With Catherine, who viewed me as an enemy, at the helm, I knew things wouldn't be the same. Feeling no attachment to the company anymore, I decided to part ways. Okay then, good luck with the business, I said to Robert before starting a new chapter of my life at home after seeing him off. A few months later, Catherine and Robert visited my house, questioning the state of the company since my departure. Catherine, what's going on? What do you mean, what's going on? I asked, puzzled by their sudden appearance. Our company's performance has been deteriorating ever since you left. You didn't hand over properly, did you? Catherine accused. I did the minimum handover. Why do you think the performance dropped? Have you been reviewing the monthly expenses? You have to properly calculate the difference between revenue and expenses, or else you'll be in the red, I countered. I've always been doing that. I studied management, unlike you. Isn't the fundamental problem with the way the business is being run? Catherine retorted. Even if everything else is in place, if you're going to say that, then tell us what you've done. I remained silent. Robert spoke patiently. Emily must be getting bored just staying at home. If you help out the company, I can give you some allowance. So come back. Despite being ruthlessly driven away before, his sudden shift in attitude, wanting to call me back as the business becomes precarious, left me perplexed. I declined, stating, I don't wish to return to that company anymore. Hearing my words, Catherine flared up. What? Despite being a full-time housewife, how dare you refuse like that? Do you not care about our family's company? You're the one who doesn't care about the company, and I'm the CEO now. How am I not caring about the company? Weren't you the one who originally said the company was plain and boring? You only took on the role because the title female CEO sounded cool, and you could brag about it. Don't act so high and mighty. I responded defiantly. A few months later, Catherine and Robert came to my house, questioning the state of the company since my departure. Catherine, what's going on? What do you mean, what's going on? I asked, puzzled by their sudden appearance. Our company's performance has been deteriorating ever since you left. You didn't hand over properly, did you? Catherine accused. I did the minimum handover. Why do you think the performance dropped? Have you been reviewing the monthly expenses? You have to properly calculate the difference between revenue and expenses, or else you'll be in the red, I countered. I've always been doing that. I studied management, unlike you. Isn't the fundamental problem with the way the business is being run? Catherine retorted. Even if everything else is in place, if you're going to say that, then tell us what you've done. I remained silent. Robert spoke patiently. Emily must be getting bored just staying at home. If you help out the company, I can give you some allowance. So come back. Despite being ruthlessly driven away before, his sudden shift in attitude, wanting to call me back as the business becomes precarious, left me perplexed. I declined, stating, I don't wish to return to that company anymore. Hearing my words, Catherine flared up. What? Despite being a full-time housewife, how dare you refuse like that? Do you not care about our family's company? You're the one who doesn't care about the company, and I'm the CEO now. How am I not caring about the company? Weren't you the one who originally said the company was plain and boring? You only took on the role because the title female CEO sounded cool, and you could brag about it. Don't act so high and mighty, I responded defiantly. Catherine defended her position. What are you basing those accusations on? Your boyfriend, Zach, told me during the handover. So what? No matter the reason, I saved the company when there was no successor, Catherine asserted. I believe the current downturn is due to you, Catherine. What do you mean? While I'm at home during the day, I often hear gossip from the regular customers from the neighborhood. They've seen you with Zach out shopping and even traveling during work hours. That was for business trips, Catherine explained. In the 20 years I worked there, I never once saw an accountant go on a business trip. Can you tell me specifically which clients you were meeting with? I questioned. Why should I tell you? You don't work for us. Your boyfriend, Zach, is quite talkative. During the handover, he boasted about how he could travel and shop using the company's money now that his girlfriend is the CEO. I revealed. Catherine's face contorted in anger, realizing she was exposed. Zach, he's such a blabbermouth. Employees won't follow a CEO who appoints her boyfriend as the accountant and misuses the company's funds. Isn't the problem with the actions of you and your boyfriend? I glared at Catherine. Catherine, is this true? If it is, it's embezzlement. It's not like that. She's just making things up, Catherine retorted. Then let's see the books, I suggested. Zach seemed to lack knowledge in accounting, so he probably wouldn't know how to cover things up. I was confident that there was evidence of misuse. Catherine turned pale at the suggestion, and seeing her reaction, Robert started accusing her. Making you the CEO was a mistake. I'll report this to Mother and have you dismissed. No, I'm sorry. I was wrong. Please forgive me, Catherine pleaded, leaving in disgrace. Robert turned to me desperately. Emily, we need your help to save the company. Please come back. Like I said before, I have no intention of going back, I firmly stated. But don't we have a marriage? Our relationship as a married couple is over, I declared, thrusting divorce papers at Robert. What are you saying? If you divorce without returning to work, you'll be the one in trouble. How do you plan to live? Don't worry about me. I showed Robert the employment notification from the major company I used to work at. After I was fired, I was on a job hunt. I found out that a former colleague had moved to HR. She remembered my performance and recommended me for re-employment. That doesn't mean we need to divorce, Robert protested. There's a reason for the divorce. What I had been worried about, you coming home late since just before your father passed away. So I had a detective agency investigate you these past months and found plenty of evidence of your affairs. I thrust out a photo of Robert meeting with an unknown woman. What is this? An affair is a valid reason for divorce, so I will be demanding alimony from you, I asserted. With undeniable evidence in front of him, Robert had no choice but to agree to my terms and sign the divorce papers and the alimony agreement. With the two documents in hand, I packed up and left our home. Later on, Robert and his mother dismissed Catherine from her position, making Robert the president of the company. At the same time, they fired Zach, and his mother took over the accounting as she used to. After being dismissed, Catherine tried to find another job, but her high expectations made it difficult. Apparently, she's now working part-time and seems to be the butt of jokes among her friends. It seems that Zach was only with Catherine for her money. Once she started working part-time, he moved on to another woman, and Catherine was quickly dumped. With Robert, who lacked leadership skills, and his mother, who had no knowledge in accounting, in charge, the company's performance only declined. Employees started to leave, and the company eventually went bankrupt. Robert and his mother were drowned in debt. I heard Robert's mistress disappeared when she found out Robert was out of money. Robert, who had never worked for a company, could only find part-time jobs and struggled to pay off his debts. He even had to take care of his aging mother, who couldn't work even part-time, leading a difficult life. On the other hand, I regained my old skills and in working competently at the major company. My former colleagues appreciate my return, and I am rightfully rewarded for my hard work. Being recognized and valued for my efforts, I've come to realize once again that the best place for me is where I'm needed. I vow to continue to work hard to meet the expectations of those around me.